Good morning, everybody. All right, let's see if I pushed all the right buttons here. Okay, who's excited to be here this morning? Just so we know how our buttons work. At the bottom of your screen or somewhere on your screen, you should have a raise the hand button. So click that raise the hand button for me if you are excited to be with us this morning. Oh, awesome. Look at all those hands going up. Because that way I know you have found your raise the hand button. Now I got to find where I can see the raise the hand button. Where is it? There we go. I got it right there. Look at all those hands. Fantastic. All right. Well, I will admit I am a little excited to be here this morning as well, because this is probably one of my favorite things about what I've learned to do. Okay. So just so you know what's going on, if you are on YouTube, I'm reading the Zoom chat right now, and there are all these people that are also saying they're excited to be here and sending messages, and I am just so excited to see all of you. I see some familiar names and I see some names I don't know. So those of you who I've seen before, welcome. And those of you that are new, welcome. My name is Ann Washburn, and I work with this fabulous company, 3 Key Elements. And 3 Key Elements is based in Utah. And so I live in Willard, Utah, which is up at the way north part of Willard, or of Utah, above the Great Salt Lake. And I am joining you on this beautiful October fall morning for what we are calling this morning our body language hot seat. So I'm just curious, who thinks that they would want to get to come on stage with me today? Raise your hand if that's something you think you might want to do. Fantastic. I'm so excited. So excited. Now, if you didn't raise your hand and you change your mind later, that's fine. Or if you did raise your hand and you change your mind later, that's also fine. Because this morning we are going to learn from each other. Because one of the coolest things about the human race that I just love is that we get to learn from each other. That nobody in life has to know everything. Nobody in life has to know everything. We can learn from each other, because some people, there's probably some areas of life that you know way more than I do. And there's probably some areas of life that I've had more experience or you've had more experience. And so we get to come together at an event like this and learn from each other. Supporting us today in the background, we have the wonderful Adam and the wonderful Wayne. And so in the chat, if you could just say thank you to them for supporting us, because without them supporting all the technology that has to go into being able to do an event like this, it would not go as smoothly as it goes. And so, yeah, aren't we so grateful for them? So grateful. And also, we're really grateful that we have technology, because although we did classes live on stages for years and years and years and years, it is pretty cool that we can join each other from our office, our living room, wherever we're at. Maybe some of you are even on your phone sitting in your car in the parking lot. Wherever you are, I just want to acknowledge the fact that you made the effort to be here today. Because as I look at the numbers, there are quite a few people who registered for this webinar who haven't been able to get on yet today for whatever reason. Maybe something came up this morning and they just haven't been able to get on. And I'm sure that some of you probably had struggles to get on, because that's how life is. And so I just want to acknowledge you for making it through all those little hiccups that might stop us from getting to where we want to be in life. And so here, just take your hand out and pat yourself on the back, because I'm willing to bet you don't get enough pats on the back in your life. And I just want you to know that if I'm right here next to you, I am also giving you a pat on the back, because I believe in you. I believe in your amazingness. And that's why we're having this webinar this morning. And I see some of you saying that you might not be able to stay the whole time, but you know what? You got here anyway. And so however long you can stay, that is fantastic. I am so grateful that you are here. I love it. Yes, thanks you guys. Thank you for being here, and thanks for our support system that we have. Well, today I'm going to share my screen many times, and right here, today we are doing the body language hot seat. And as part of this body language hot seat, I need to tell you how things are going to work this morning and what you might learn. So last night, as I was thinking about this, okay, why can't I see you guys anymore? There you are. Okay. And I also need this one. There we go. Okay. So last night, as I was thinking about you guys, because that's one of the things that I love to do when I get to teach a class, is I like to imagine in my mind people who are going to be at my class. So just so you know, last night I was imagining you. I was thinking about you. So, excuse me, here is a picture of me, okay? And this is the living room. This background right here is a picture of the fireplace in my living room. And this is where I was sitting yesterday, and I was thinking about you. That's who I was thinking about. And I was thinking about what could be the takeaways that people get out of the class today. And so I want to read to you what I wrote down. By being here today and putting something into action. Because remember, if we don't change our behavior, we're going to get the same results. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you learn something today and put a new behavior into practice, even if it's just for a few minutes, you could have higher self-worth. You could access more of your personal power. You could be able to be more kind. You could have people interact with you more kindly. You could have higher connection. You might even have more courage to do things in your life. You might have greater successes. You might even get offered promotions. You might get a new family member. You might have a family member that you haven't gotten along with that you start getting along with. You might find that you have less need for the little self-defeating behaviors, the little ones that the way one of my past mentees has described as the things that you do to try to numb the noise in your head. You might have less noise in your head that you need to numb. You know, the noise that you numb by scrolling social media or eating things that aren't very good for you, or maybe eating things that aren't very good for you while scrolling social media. You know, those little things, you might have less need for those. You might actually be able to choose things that you want to create and create them. Now, I'm curious, would you want any of those results? Who would want any of those results? Raise your hands if you would want those kinds of results in your life. Okay, there's a few of us here that would want that. Okay, so if I didn't mention something that you would want, put it in the comments for me, because today we're going to have the chance to interact off the camera, and that's going to be our chat and our raise the hand button. Those are two ways that I can interact with you when you're not on camera. If you're chosen to come up on stage, then you're going to be able to have the chance to enable your camera. But that button doesn't show up until you are chosen, until you're selected to come up on stage. So how does that work? To be on stage, you need to go to this link. And Adam, can you put this link in the chat so people can click on it as well? If you would like to have the chance, perfect, to be on stage, then you go to this link right here and you can click on it in the chat, okay? And right there, there's going to have just a little mentoring agreement, because if you come up on stage with me, I'm going to mentor you. It's who I am. I don't separate mentoring from real life anymore. My ability to pay attention to body language and see what's going on under the surface and read between the lines of what people say is just part of my being now. And so I will be mentoring you. So you'll see that it's a mentoring agreement. And then when it comes in just a few minutes, when it's time for you to raise your hand, you'll raise your hand, you'll do the raise the hand button, just like we've already practiced. So I've already been mentoring you by having you practice the little pieces that will help us to have success today. So after you click on the mentoring agreement, you filled out the mentoring agreement. When it's time to raise your hand, you'll click the raise your hand button. Then what we're going to do is Wayne and Adam in the background are going to check, and people that raise their hands and they filled out the mentoring agreement, that's who we will choose to come up on stage. And so you want to check the background of your video and try to be standing up if you can, okay? And so here's an example. Here's an example of a background that doesn't have anything in it that you don't want to show, okay? And this is, if you can show your upper body so that your, I think I wrote it here, so that your hands or even your feet are visible. The feet aren't as important, but if your hands are visible, that would be fantastic, okay? So if you have chosen into this, have you be video ready. Check your background, check your sound, and aim your camera. Make sense? Okay, so here's a close-up view of what that would look like. So that's what we want to be able to do. So go to the 3ke.to/onstage if you think you might want to be on stage and fill out that mentoring agreement, okay? Go do that right now. Now, you still will have the chance to decide whether you raise your hand. So just because you fill out that mentoring agreement doesn't mean that you automatically have decided to go on stage. Make sense? It's two parts. You fill out the mentoring agreement and you raise your hand. And once you do both of those, then you have a chance to be chosen. But just so you know, since we've only got 2 hours this morning, not everyone will be selected, but just put the image in your head that those people that are chosen are going to teach you things that you needed this morning, okay? They're going to teach you things. Okay, so let me just run back in the chat here really quick. So other things that people want are more buy-in, more sales, and that involves other people. And so any successes that we want that involve other people, that's the kind of success we can have by working on ourselves in the ways that we're going to do it today. Because you are one part of every interaction that you have in your life. You are one part of every interaction. And then, okay, and Michael says, I too easily fall back into my old ways. All right, so we want to be able to maintain new behavior. So true, so true. I love it, love it. Okay, love what you guys are saying. Now, the last thing I need you to know is you will need a paper and pencil, okay, or pen. So some kind of place that you can take notes, whether it's in a journal, a plain piece of paper. And the reason for that is, in just a moment, I'm going to have you answer some questions. And the reason we want to answer these questions is to get your brain ready for being chosen to be on stage. And so I want your brain to know the direction we're going. So I'm going to have you answer some questions, but you'll need to have your answers on paper. So go get a paper and pencil. or a paper and pen, or you can type it on your computer, but you're going to need answers. You're going to need your answers written down. Okay. So really quick, do I have your permission to just tell you who I am and why I do what I do? Would that be okay? All right. Some of you said yes. Okay, awesome. So here's a little bit about me. I am a body language and behavior expert. My background, my education is in engineering and in psychology. And I have been on TV. I've done a TED Talk that's had almost 2 million views that is on body language and your subconscious behavior. I've made audio recordings and classes, and over the next month, it'll be 13 years, I've worked with 3 key elements. And I got out the Break Free Intensive class is where I used to work with people live on stage. And I worked with over 1,000 people live on stage before we moved to the online platform. And this is just a few of the testimonials that I received from doing that class. And I went back and was reading some of these last night. And this is just a few of them because I have several binders full of them, which is really, really cool. But I love seeing the changes that people got and the ahas that they got. And so I just wanted you to know that this is my intention for you today, is that you have ahas that are so powerful, you would be willing to send a testimonial. Not that you have to, but that's what this represents, is that these people had ahas to the point that it caused them to take an action to write it down, Oh, I love that, Rebecca. Rebecca says 2 things. She said, I just switched my computer and I filled out the agreement and raised my hand for being roasted. Woohoo! And she said, I would love to send you a testimonial. Fantastic. So today, that is my intention for you. When I became a body language expert, I had to choose what I was going to do with that superpower. And what I decided I wanted to do with that superpower was help people access more of their amazingness. Do you hide any of your amazingness? Does any of your amazingness go unutilized? If it does, then you are in the right place because I want to help you access that amazingness. Woohoo! Are you in? I love it, love it, love it. Okay, if you're in, raise your hand so I know that you're in this morning. Yes. Okay, we know how to raise the hand button. We have the link for the mentoring agreement. And so it is time to answer our questions. Okay, so get out your pen and paper so that you are ready. Okay, where are my questions? Here's my questions. And some of these questions actually changed this morning because when I woke up this morning, I realized that one of the things that I do is I pay attention to everything that's going on in our world. And one of the things that I noticed is that there are some things going on in our world that are affecting all of us. And so I've adjusted some of these questions this morning to reflect that I'm seeing. All right, so here you'll need a pen and a paper, and here's your questions. Are you ready to answer your questions? Okay, when I clicked the share button, all my screens went away. So I don't know why it did that. Hang on a second while I get them back where I can see you. All right, here we go. Your first question is, where are you stuck or holding back in your life? Where are you stuck? Where are you stuck? Now, don't overthink these. I really want you to just go with the first answers that come to your head. The first answers, just write them down. So I'm not going to give you a lot of time because I want you to not overthink it. Okay, second question. What is being stuck stopping you from accomplishing? What are you being stopped from accomplishing in your life? Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's healing a past wound. Maybe it's letting go. Maybe it's having the courage to take actions that you know would further your career or would benefit your family or the people around you. Maybe it's just stopping you from buying a new outfit. I mean, we can be stopped in little tiny ways. Maybe you just won't even buy a new shirt to wear because you feel bad about yourself. Or maybe the little voices in your head are just telling you that you can't even ask for help. Whatever it is, what are you being stopped from accomplishing? All right, the next question is, where do you feel powerless? Where in your life do you feel powerless? Next question. Describe a repeating problem in your life. Do you have one of those? Something that keeps coming up over and over again? Maybe it's you. For me, here's ones that happened to me in the past, is I kept having people getting angry at me. People would just get angry at me for no reason, and I couldn't figure it out. Or maybe you keep making the same mistake over and over again at work. And it's like, seriously, why does that happen? Maybe you have a repeating problem of getting in an argument with the same person. Whatever it is, just describe briefly a repeating problem in your life. And then next question is, why is now the right time for you to make a change? Why now? Why now? I mean, you could wait till later, or you could have done it in the past, but why now? Why is now the right time to make a change? And then bonus, on the back of your piece of paper or on another piece of paper, draw a picture of, and no artistic talent at all is required for this. Just draw a picture of what it feels like for you to be stuck. And then draw a picture of what you look like at your next level. So if you got out of that stuck, what would you look like? And just draw those pictures. That's just a bonus. That's optional. So I'll give you about 60 more seconds and you can keep working on these, but I'm going to give you 60 more seconds to finish answering. And bonus, if you're already done answering the questions, draw those two pictures. Cool? Okay. And then I am going to clean this fingerprint off my camera right here. There we go. Hey, when you've got an answer to all these questions, raise your hand for me so I know you're done. Rebecca's done. She told me in the chat. Awesome. Adrian's done. Shelly's done. Kathleen's done. Shalisa's done. Melissa's done. Lee and John and Jill and Brittany and Jeremy and April and Diana and Aaron, two Aarons next to each other. Awesome. Sally and Lillian and Tammy and Misty are all have answers to their questions. Good job, you guys. Good job. All right. Well done. So now we're almost ready. I'm reminded of Romper Room. Good job. All right. I love it, you guys. Fantastic. So really quick, let me just show you why we care about what we're looking at this morning. So I'm just going to teach you something really quick, and then it'll be time to, oh, actually, sorry, I went out of order. Forgive me here. It is time to have our first person raise their hand. So in just a second, just get ready. Okay, already people are raising their hand. Yes, because I had this thought last night. I'm like, what if nobody raises their hand? And I was like, that's okay. I'll teach you guys anyway. So what's going to happen is you're going to raise your hand. Wayne and Adam are going to go to work to pick a person, and then I'm going to teach you a little piece that will be super valuable. You'll love it so much. Okay, so ready? Let me lower all the hands. Don't raise your hand till I say go, because I can't. There you go. All right, if you want a chance to be on stage, raise your hand now. There you go. Awesome. Okay, Adam and Wayne, go to work. Find out who there can go on stage. Oh, I'm so excited looking at all these people. Oh, fantastic. So cool. So cool. Hang on a second. Okay, so here's the thing. As we go through life, when we're first born, we come into life with not very much programming, okay? We have very little programming, almost none when we're first born. And what happens is, as we go through life, we gain beliefs, and we gain programs, and we gain little hurts throughout our life. Have any of you ever gotten any hurts in your life? Just nod your head. Don't raise your hand, because that raise your hand right now is for people on stage. But we get little hurts. And we get programs. And what happens is, I'm going to draw it like this. So here's you. And as you go through life, things happen where I might get a belief about something based on people I interact with. And this belief stores itself somewhere in my body. Okay. And maybe what happens is I get in an argument with somebody, and the pain of that argument stores itself somewhere in my body. And after a while of these, if you want to understand more of this, I did a webinar a year ago, and it's on YouTube, where I talk about how we're programmed and why we're programmed. But for today, we just need to agree that we all have programming, and we all have past experiences that have stored themselves in our body. And I might have a cluster of these past experiences that store themselves in my heart. I might have another cluster of these that store themselves in my stomach area. Have you ever felt that, you guys? In the chat, tell me where you have stored past experiences or beliefs. We might have some in our head. You can have them in your knees. You can have them in your hands. You can have them in your shoulders, right? Rebecca says everywhere, in my chest, in my gallbladder, right? In my heart, my stomach, my jaw. Okay, I am talking to the right group of people. So we can have lots of these experiences that have stored themselves in us. Oh, there's a good one, in our throat. Let me put that one right there in your throat. Now, the problem is now a new experience comes along, and we can't just experience that new experience because it triggers these past experiences that we've had. And so it might trigger this one and this one and that one and that one. And I can't just experience this experience. I become reactive, or I respond or retaliate or repeat. I go through all this re-experiencing of these past experiences. I re-experience past experiences. And all of this that's stored in me is actually, it's really fascinating if you study this. So here's different people who have stored different experiences. And this person right here, they've stored certain experiences. This person right here, they've stored different experiences. You have different stored experiences than the people around you. Well, this new experience that comes along, this first person, notice this is a red kind of a trigger. And this person doesn't have any matching triggers to this new experience. So this new experience, they handle it just fine. They handle it just fine. But then it comes to you, and you have some matching triggers to this new experience. And so this new experience comes in and it hurts you. It pokes you. And it's like, I can't get through this. And this person is looking at you and going, well, why? Why can't you get through it? That's no big deal. Have you ever noticed that kind of an experience where somebody next to you, they're totally fine with what happened, and it is bugging the heck out of you, right? It is bugging you, and it is like pulling you down. It is like it's causing you to not be able to function, maybe, because sometimes these triggers are so big, they're so big that they knock us over, and they put us on the ground. Just tell me in the chat, have you ever experienced something like that? And it's totally flooring you, but the next person's like, why is it bothering you? Who cares? Let it go. And so this is how I like to draw the understanding of why some things will bother you and not other people, or why they'll bother other people and they won't bother you, because we have catered fears. Every human being on this planet, we have specialized fears and problems that are specialized to us. They aren't other people's, they're ours. But part of what happens is we start to identify with them, and we start to think that they make up who we are. But what I need to understand is that if I can remove the triggers, if I can remove, so let's go back to our other slide here. If I can start to remove my triggers, now I have fewer experiences that cause me to react to my environment. And I can now choose how to act instead of being reactive. I can be less reactive and more creative, productive, empowered. And so Adam and Wayne, is it okay if I lower the hands now? Are we good? We're probably good. Let me find out though. Can I lower the hands? Yes? All right. So by a show of hands, who would like to be less reactive in their life? Anybody? Oh yeah, we want to be able to be less reactive. And so the reason why this experience is so powerful. Oh, thank you. Thank you, people that are supporting us. Oh, perfect. All right. They just sent me the names of the people who are going to have the opportunity to be on stage. Okay. So the reason this is powerful is these experiences don't show up to the naked eye. They don't show up to the naked eye. But these beliefs and experiences, we can look at them like this, that they're just below the surface. And they are affecting the way we interact with people around us. Okay? They're affecting us. And so what body language does, what my ability, my fine-tuned ability, you guys, I've spent 13 years, every day of 13 years, paying attention to reading between the lines. That's what body language is it's reading between the lines. It's not judging people. I had to give up judgment a long time ago. When they started asking me to do scary things like be on Newsmax, national television, for my body language expertise, I realized really fast that I had to choose what I was going to do with my body language ability. I had to choose because I could use it to poke and judge people all day long. There is a lot of people that would love for me to use my skills that way. And that's what the news usually wants. When I was on ABC4, when I was on Newsmax, a lot of news places, they want you to poke and judge. And I was like, you know what? I can do that all day long. That is easy, easy, easy. But it isn't helping people access their amazingness. And remember, that's what I chose. I chose to help people access their amazingness. And so what I use body language for is I use it to highlight the messages that have been stored in your body. And these messages that have been stored in your body, they show up when you know what to look for. And so when I can see a stored program, a stored hurt, a stored pain, I can ask more questions. I can ask more questions, and I can give you greater perspective. Two superpowers that are underutilized in our life, two superpowers that are underused are perspective and attention. Okay? Write that on your paper, perspective and attention. Those are two superpowers that you have. Everybody has those that are being underutilized. And so this is what I'm going to do. When you come on stage, there is no judging that's going to happen. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you shine a light on one of your hurts or past beliefs. I call it a belief that's not serving you. If you have a belief, people like to call them false beliefs or other things, but all they are is a belief that's not serving you. And if you have a belief that's not serving you and you removed it, because maybe you have this belief that you're weak, but what if you removed that belief and you replaced it with something else? A belief bully. I like that, Cindy. So what would you replace the belief of I'm weak with? Tell me in the chat, what would you replace it with? I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm capable. I'm powerful. I can be seen. I can do hard things. Sometimes we have to put a qualifying word in front of it, because sometimes my mentoring hat's coming out too quickly. So let's just put I'm strong. But sometimes we might need to put a word like it's safe to be strong. We might have to put a qualifying word in front of strong, because sometimes the exact opposite of our disempowering belief is too much for us to digest all at once. So I can help you with that, because since you have fine-tuned or custom fears, that was the word I used last night, Since you have customized fears to you, you need customized mentoring principles to you. You need customized ones. So if we then can shine a light on I'm strong, or it's safe to be strong, I like that, Erin, it's okay to get help. One of mine is I'm worthy and deserving of any help I'm willing to ask for. So they can be short or long, but it depends on the person. So today we're going to look at customized mentoring principles, coaching principles that you can put into practice to move forward in your life. Can I get a woohoo for moving forward in your life? This is just such the coolest thing on the planet. It really is. And so if you guys haven't watched my TED Talk, you can go to this 3ke.to/and TED Talk, because that's what I use body language for, is to help you access your amazingness. And in this TED Talk, I will give you at least 5 different things, if you're paying attention, that you can put into practice. And so if you haven't watched that, or if you haven't watched it for a long time, go watch it and see if you can pull out at least 5 things that you can do that will help you access more of your amazingness. Awesome. I love that. Woohoo city. Yep, it's been a while. It's time for a rewatch. Okay, so our first people this morning who are going to join us on stage. Come on. There we go. Our first people that are going to come on stage are going to be Lacey Davis and oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, I'm understanding what they messaged me here. Okay. So Lacey Davis and then Bill Pivoy are going to be our first 2 people on stage. So round of applause for those 2 people. And so now our stage tech people are going to help you. So you know, when they're going to enable your camera. When you start your camera, there's going to be a short delay where you feel like you were kicked out of the meeting, but you weren't. You're just being upgraded to a panelist so that you can be brought on stage. So don't panic if it looks like you were kicked out of the meeting for a second. Did I explain that correctly? Oh, I did, because there comes Lacey Davis right now. Fantastic. Oh, I also forgot to tell you, there's a time limit. There's a time limit. So sometimes people are, all the things that I've done this morning are to help you to be ready to move forward quickly. But sometimes people feel they let themselves go into past beliefs about fears of judgments. And how that will come out is they'll, I'm just letting you know so that you can be ready for this kind of thing, is it'll come out in an argument. They'll be like, no, this can't be true about me. And what'll happen is that I'll say, all right, hey, I noticed this and this and this. And they're like, nope, it can't be that. And it's like, well, okay. And usually what'll happen is I'm really good at what I do, you guys. I can come at lots of different angles to help people gently see what's going on inside of them. In fact, that's one of the most common things that I am told in testimonials, is that I am gentle and kind, but I don't let people get away with stuff. I'm willing to hold people accountable to their own amazingness. So I am firm, but I am not mean. And so what'll happen is, if I have to take too much time looking at lots of different angles, we'll run out of time. Because since this is a short webinar, we want to be able to have several people come on stage. So our time limit is 15 minutes. We have a 15-minute time limit. Will you agree to that this morning, you guys? Raise your hand if you're willing to agree to our 15-minute time limit. All right, cool. Lacey and Bill both raised their hands, just so you guys know. All right, so Lacey, you are first. So you need to click your start the video button and you need to unmute yourself. There she is.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's great, but I can't see your face.
Okay.
Can you tilt your camera up just a little now? Because now you're really far away and I want to be able to make sure we hear you. There you go. Perfect. Lacey, I'm so glad you're here this morning. Tell me, what crazy idea got in your head that you were willing to get on this webinar this morning and come on camera?
Oh, wow. So when you posted last night, I was just on and I was like, I need to be there. And so I signed up and I woke up to be here.
Good job. Oh yeah, this is morning, isn't it? The
Yeah.
sun's coming up. I love it. I love it. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so on your questions, you answered the questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, what was the question that stuck out to you the most?
Oh, where I'm stuck.
Okay, where are you stuck?
In my family.
Okay, so in your body language, there's a lot of carrying going on. Who are you carrying?
Everybody. My older kids had to move back at home, and crazy thing, my ex-husband's living with me. And
Do you have a new husband too?
I do, yeah, we've been
A
together.
new husband and an ex-husband and your older kids.
And my younger kids and my grandkids.
Oh my goodness. And so that's why, so the first thing that you did, let me take my notes off. The first thing you did as you talked is you did this a lot, okay? And your hands want to be in your pockets. They don't want to be showing. And so that shows a lot of, so shoulders are a lot of carrying. And what do you think? So let me help you with this. You can put your notes down because I want you to be able to use both hands. Take your hands, put them where they want to be, hidden in your pockets. What does that feel like? What does that help you with when you put your hands away?
Safe.
Safe from what? What's the danger?
I'm not certain.
Okay, so just pretend. So just pretend. So take them back out. Take them back out. If they were out, oh no, so notice, then you shook your sleeves down. It's like, let me hide my hands. What would happen if you're, so uncover your hands. Why are your hands hiding? Ask them, say, hands, why are you hiding?
Why are you hiding? Hands? I don't know.
Okay, so I forgot to give the I don't know training. So the thing is, your subconscious has lots of answers, but if we don't want the answers, we use the words I don't know. So usually what works better is to just take a breath and pretend like we're willing to have an answer. So just take a breath and then just say, hands, I actually do want to listen to you. Why are you hiding?
I actually do want to listen to you. Why are you hiding? Something about help is what I hear. I don't know the rest. I couldn't hear the rest. I don't know.
Okay, good. You're doing really good. So here's the thing. As you were talking to your hands, I was watching the rest of you. Okay. And so the first thing you did is you started rocking back and forth. Okay. And then you settled in when you started listening to the answer. So you guys that are watching her, did you see her do that? That her body language settled and she suddenly got still because she started to hear an answer. You started to allow the answer in. Because one of the things that happens in our world, Lacey, is there's a lot of noise. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
And I bet in your house right now, there's a lot of noise, a lot of conflicting messages, a lot of just a lot of differing opinions, a lot of just being thrown all over the place, not like loud necessarily, but just a lot. And so sometimes the rocking back and forth is a soothing gesture, and some of it is going back into our little kid, because rocking is either, well, it can be it's a soothing, but it's also it's a little kid. Like when we have a baby, what do we do with it? We rock it. It's a soothing. And so there's a lot of what that says to me is that, especially since your hands said something about help, is two things. You are not taking care of you, and you don't know how or if you can ask for help. Would those be true statements?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so right now, with all these people that you're trying to take care of, there's some messages that are trying to come through. Your body actually wants to help you, but there's so much noise and you're not taking the time to settle and just say, all right, you know what? We can make it through this. I actually care about all these people. I don't want to drop any of them. But at the same time, there's a lot of them and only one of me. Right?
Right.
And one of the superpowers we have as moms, and some dads, dads have they have access to this superpower too, but they're usually busy taking more, how do I want to say this? We have lots of superpowers available to us. We can't use them all at once. And so dads are usually busy with other superpowers. It doesn't mean they don't have access to this. But one of our superpowers is that we actually reach out and we take emotional energy burdens off of people around us that matter to us. Are you doing any of that right now? But then we don't ask for help and we hold it all. And so your body right now is trying to tell you, you can't hold on to everything. And this little kid motion is, who's going to take my burdens off of me? But would you want it to be different? Would you like to be able to let go?
Definitely.
What would happen if you let go?
Oof. Oh. So that word let go makes me, like, part of me think that I have to let go of my family. So it kind of makes me scared.
Yeah.
To let go because I don't want to let go of them.
Yeah.
Like I want them. I love having them around, like it fills my house with joy. But to let go, on the other hand, it feels relief.
Yeah.
Like,
so you have a conflicting messages in your head, and so you just tune them all out. But your body really wants to be heard. And so it really was a beautiful thing, Lacey, that the second you started to listen, your body language just went, zzz. That was just, it was just a settling. And I was like, oh, her body got listened to. It feels good. And it just, that settling, that listening is what I want you to have more access to, because our world is not going to get quieter. Your world is not going to get quieter. And Melissa, your comment in the chat that maybe it's not noise, maybe not noise, but a lot of energy to filter through. Same kind of thing. Same kind of thing. We have, if I brought a radio into this room, I could tune it to many different stations, right? But all a radio does is tune in to the messages that are already in the air. So that means I am currently being bombarded with all of these different radio stations. And I feel that at a cellular level. I feel that. And so if we're going to call it noise or energy or messages or whatever it is, it's a lot. And so we need to learn how to settle in the middle of that and tune into what we want to hear. So your simple act of asking your hands, but then listening and not defaulting to I don't know, gave you a chance to be able to settle. So you need chances every day. They don't have to be long. It doesn't have to be hours, but every single day, if you will give yourself a time to settle, even if it's just for 5 minutes, that's going to help you navigate the noise of the rest of your day. Okay? So tip number 1, you need to have a chance to settle. And so maybe what that looks like is you talk to your hands and you listen. Or you talk to another part of your body where you're storing stuff and you listen for 5 minutes. And you don't have to have any solutions, Lacey. No solutions. You're having so many solutions for all the rest of the people in your family. You need 5 minutes where you don't have to have a solution, right?
Right. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it'll make such a difference. The second thing I would suggest for you, and how would I know this? Oh yeah, because I've had to do it too, is that we can't carry everyone around us. So this is going to be point 2 and 3. We can't carry everyone around us. So we need to start letting go of the belief that I have to carry everyone, because if I don't, I let them down. I let them go. Because it's like you just described. I don't want to let go of them because I don't want them to just be gone. So instead, we need to adjust it to, I trust the people around me. I trust them to learn and grow from their own experiences. You don't have to save them. Okay? So implement a belief in your head of, I trust my people. I trust them to learn and grow from their own experiences. I don't have to save them to love them. Yeah. Do you see how you wanted to take a deep breath there? It was like, wait, I can think something different. I don't have to hold on for dear life or else somebody's going to die, kind of a feeling. And so the third part that's part of the same thing is, yes, you have a superpower of being a pressure relief valve for the people around you, but it's super important that you are taking that and you're giving it to your higher power, because you don't want to just shove it back on them, because what you told me is, it's like, no, I don't want to hurt the people around me. I care about them. They bring me joy. But you don't have room for joy right now, Lacey. You need to create room. You need to create room. So to create room, it's time to take all the pieces that you've been storing in your body for them. Because remember how I showed you that picture of storing all that stuff in your body? you are taking it from them and storing it for them. I mean, if we looked at a spiritual level or an energetical level, you're like reaching out, grabbing their pain and saying, here, I have some space. I'll stick it right here in the shoulder or in my stomach. Or where are you storing most of it? Where's your spot?
Shoulders, low back, sometimes stomach.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, I've got a little extra room here. Who needs it? Here, I'll put yours in there. But you got to empty out so that you have room for joy too. And so take it out, and your hands want to help. Lacey, they told you. Take it out and hand it to your higher power and say, hey, I forgot I wasn't supposed to hold on to this. I'm grateful I could help the people around me. Now here, I'm going to give this to you. And thank you for reminding me to take it and give it to you, because it's not mine to hold. Does that help, Lacey?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so tell me what you're going to do, because it's not just enough to learn something. You got to take a new action.
So I've got to take at least 5 minutes for myself every day. Hide in my closet something.
Only 5 minutes. They can do without you for 5 minutes.
And then remember to give my things to the Lord. So
yeah.
And in that 5 minutes, I could be doing that.
Yeah, totally. And then remind yourself during the day to send out that message of trust to the people around you. Okay?
Okay.
Because we forget. We access one superpower and we forget to access others. And that superpower of helping diffuse the energy for the people around us, we got to also step in. I'll just say this. We are all given spiritual gifts, but they are, I'm going to say it this way. Rarely are we given spiritual gifts in isolation. Usually they come in pairs or multiples. And we have to be conscious enough to not overuse one and not use the other. And so you have the gift that you're using of being able to diffuse the energy for people around you, but you're not utilizing the gift of being able to pass that on. And so step into that further so that you have more capacity. You don't have to get rid of people to increase your capacity. And that's been part of your false belief, is that you have to give up people to have more capacity, but you don't.
Okay.
Increase your capacity for joy. Cool?
Cool. I like that.
I love it. Big hug, Lacey.
You.
Thanks for being here this morning. Thanks for being so brave. So proud of you. Hey, in the chat, if anybody learned from Lacey, will you just say so in the chat so she knows that it was, because Lacey cares about lots of people. She's a big carer. And so it's going to matter to her that other people benefited besides just her from her coming on stage. Okay? All right.
You.
Right? All right, Lacey, you get to go read all these comments in the chat now. Everybody benefited from you. Aw, I love it so much. Okay, Lacey, good job. Thank you. Now you get to learn from the next person too. Is that cool?
Yes, I definitely love that.
I love that so much. Okay, thank you. Oh, Lacey was so awesome. So glad she was here. All right, put my phone down somewhere. So our next person is Bill. And then right after that, if I can get my chat back up again here. Right after that. So would anybody want to come up after Bill? If they're going to want to come up after Bill, let me Okay, here we go. Let me lower all the hands. So now that you've seen me work with somebody and you say, no, I'm not mean, I'm gentle. Raise your hand if you would like to be chosen to come up on stage after Bill. All right. So here's another chance to choose in. All right, fantastic. Okay. Bill's video is ready. All right, Bill, say something so I can see if I can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me, Anne?
Yep, we can hear you. Fantastic.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Anne, I've got my 18-year-old son here on the call with me. He is leaving in about 3 weeks to go for a 2-year mission. And if with your permission, Anne, I'd like to abdicate my time to him.
What's your name?
For this. This is Ezra.
Hey, Ezra. So you're brave enough to stand up here in front of a stranger you don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have to tilt the camera up, Bill. There you go. There we go. All right, so I have to ask you, Ezra, did you answer the questions that I put at the beginning?
I did. It was kind of hard to come up with answers for some of them. And I went through them, and then after I finished, I kind of had tons of different things all scattered. But then I kind of decided on one that was probably the biggest for me.
Okay,
So
let's
it
hear
doesn't line up with all of my questions, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
So because I'm leaving and because I'm getting ready to go and making money for when I leave, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I've never really talked about that before. This is so embarrassing. Oh my goodness.
Not at all. You're doing so good.
I haven't cried in a long time. Wow. I am the second oldest of 9 kids. I'm the first of my siblings. I don't know why I'm so emotional. To go on a mission. And I have really good connections with all my siblings. But I feel like when I leave, and I'm noticing it as I'm going away, there's a city about 2 hours away that I'm going to work for money, to work up for my mission. And I'm seeing my relationships with my siblings grow apart. And if it was just one sibling, it would be easier to reconnect. And every time I come back for 2 days that I'm back the weekend, it'd be easy to connect. But I've got 9 siblings, or 8 siblings to connect with. And I feel like I'm losing some of those relationships. And it's really hard to sustain those relationships and keep them good. Yeah.
Where are you going on your mission?
I'm going to St. George, Utah.
What?
All the way from Canada.
That's so awesome. I'm so excited for you. And what are you doing for work?
My friend's father is opening a business, and he needs help getting it started. So I'm going and helping move in all the things and paint the building and do all the things that they need employees for, but they don't have employees. So I'm the guy who's going and working overtime and putting all my time into getting the business started.
That's so fantastic. So I'm going to ask you a different direction of questions so that I can help answer. I got to ask two different directions that might not seem related. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you, how do you get answers? How do you get answers to questions?
I have my amazing parents, and they're both really educated in this self-mastery and stuff. So I get lots of answers from my parents. And it's just answers in general.
So how do you connect with your higher powers answers?
Through those still small voice promptings. And I had them really strong when I was a little kid. And I kind of grew apart when I was not too long ago going through some things and some of my trials or struggles. I grew apart from my really strong connection with the spirit. And now that I'm past that, I'm coming back into connection with the spirit and getting ready for a mission. And
where do you feel those answers in your body?
when I was younger, I described it as a feeling in my stomach.
Okay.
But I haven't really got really strong ones recently. I'm just now falling back into things and getting my connection back with the spirit.
Okay, well that explains what I'm seeing there. So my other question for you is, what's your greatest fear?
Probably failure.
And what does failure mean? Failure at what?
In my youth, I have tried to start businesses, just as an example, and they haven't really brought me the money that I needed, or they weren't as successful as I wanted. And I guess one of my worries is that in the future, it'll be the same. I won't. Anything I try will be a failure. Putting in the work won't matter. And also maybe failure on my mission, not touching the people that I need to spiritually.
And how will you know if you succeeded or failed at your mission?
I think it's me. If I change, if I gain my connection back that I had as a little kid with the spirit. There's a song, it's called Just One Soul. I feel like if I connect that, then that'll be enough.
Okay, last question. Who do you trust the most?
My greater power, my Heavenly Father.
Okay. So who do you trust the least?
maybe people who aren't on the right path.
Hmm. Okay. So all these pieces are connected, Ezra. That was your name, right?
Yeah, thank
This
you.
says Bill on my screen, so I'm like, I want to make sure I got his name right. So all these pieces are connected. Your fear of disconnect with your siblings, your disconnect from your connection with your higher power, your fear of failure, and the clarity on what trust is. All of these pieces are connected. And first of all, I have to commend you for a couple of things. One is you're willing to listen to your parents. So few kids your age are willing to listen to parents nowadays, especially ones who delve into the self-help world. And so I commend you for that. That's really awesome. And also for the fact that you're willing to keep trying and keep doing things. I commend you for that one as well. And I think it's really good timing that we're having this conversation, because one of the things that I do as a body language expert is as I'm listening to people, I let their words and tone and what I'm seeing paint a picture in my head. And so I don't think I tell very many people this, but I just let a picture get painted in my head. And I wait to see what the picture looks like. And the picture with you is the picture of, did you ever hear Elder Uchtdorf talk about flying airplanes? And that when he flies an airplane, if he's off course just a tiny amount, over the course of the flight, that ends up being a really big amount. And
Yeah.
that right now in your life, you're having a chance. That's the picture in my head right now, is that you're at the front edge of that change in path. And that you did a change in path like that when what you described is when you were younger, you were more connected to your higher power. And a shift happened. And it's your chance to shift back. So what happened that shifted you out?
A personal struggle.
Okay. So knowing your higher power the way you do, what would shift you back? You know, he knows you, you know him. What would shift you back if a personal struggle shifted you out? What would shift you back?
Continual faith and efforts.
Okay. Is that what shifts you? Is efforts?
I think so.
Okay, so there's a belief we need to adjust. Because let's talk about that, Ezra. Is it possible for you to do enough to make your connection be good with God?
Yes.
Is it? Because that would mean that you as a human have the ability to make things happen. Is that a truth?
Yeah.
Can we as humans do enough to improve our communication with God? Or do we need somebody to make up the difference?
Probably need someone to make up the difference.
Well, what's the atonement for?
For repentance.
For making up the difference,
Right.
right? And so here's where trust can have a shift. And when we start trusting our own efforts more than trusting God's ability to make up the difference, it shifts us in a poor direction. And so what I hear you saying, and so this is just you and me talking here, is that okay?
Yeah.
What I hear you saying is that you had a personal experience that shifted you away from God and into yourself, and trusting in humanness more than in godness. And your spiritual gift is a connection to God. And so, of course, everybody gets personalized problems that help strengthen their ability to wield a personalized spiritual sword. And so, yes, you were given you had a personal struggle that shifted you away from God. But if you believe that you can do enough by yourself to shift it back, it won't happen. You can't do it alone. Okay, tell me what you're hearing so far.
If you try from going where I was to where I want to be by personal efforts alone, it won't happen.
Yeah. And so it's funny, whenever I did this break free intensive class in the past, there was always a theme that would come up. And so far, the theme today is trust, because with Lacey, we had to talk about trust, that she needs to trust people around us. Your angle on trust that we need to talk about is that you have the opportunity to step back into a trust that you don't have to do things alone. The fact that you failed at things in the past is trying to make you believe that humanness makes us succeed. Humanness does not make us succeed. What makes us succeed is facing what we're actually afraid of with love, with the true love that we felt before we came to this planet. And so I'm imagining that for you, it's more painful for you than a lot of people to be disconnected from your higher power. Because what I was seeing in your body language, I don't know how, let me think how I want to say this. It was making me realize that you have a lot of pain that happens in your stomach, not physical pain, but a disconnect pain, a longing to be back connected with your higher power. Is that a fair way to say that?
Yeah.
And that comes out in your body language, because your body language is this, it's almost like you would lift stuff from your stomach and flick it. It was like your body language looked like this as you would talk. It was like this, trying to make a clear connection again. So that's why I asked you, where do you feel that in your body? Because that's what it was pointing at. And that this is higher level body language stuff, but I just want you to know this is right now within your grasp. It's being laid out for you, but it is not humanness that will give it to you. And other people on this webinar may not understand that, but I think you and I can have this conversation. That trust. So this is how life works, is it gives us, I didn't share this slide yet, but it's that every experience, every triggering experience in our lives as an adult is a chance to heal the past. Okay? And so let's lay out the triggering experiences that you just told me you're having. You're disconnecting from your siblings, right? You're afraid of failure in business. even though you're having the experience of getting to help somebody else set up their business. So it's adding to the fear because it's like, well, wait, maybe only other people can have their business. I can't. Right? And then a fear of not of failing at your mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going on right there?
Where?
Because your body language just shifted. So what went through your head? Okay. Are you just settling into what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you agree with me on those steps, on those things, that those are the fears that are being laid out in front of you? Fear of losing your siblings, fear of failure in business and in your mission.
Yeah.
Any other fears you didn't bring up that we should talk about?
No.
Okay. So those are triggering you to be able to adjust something from your past. And the antidote to these fears is trust. And the trust needs to be where, Ezra?
To my higher power.
Okay. And where else? What did you learn from Lacey? How does she need to apply trust?
To herself.
And it's okay. You were probably nervous getting ready to be on camera. And so you probably didn't get to pay a lot of attention to Lacey. So let me help you out there. So with Lacey, I was telling her she needed to trust the people around her to learn and grow from their own experiences. Okay. So that applies to you as well, because you're going to have to trust the people you teach on your mission, that they get to make their own choices. You're not there to make choices for them. You're there to give options and let people choose. And you also need to have trust in the relationships with your siblings, because the one universal truth on this planet is that we will eventually let go of everything. Because when my mom died a few years ago, she died of cancer. My son, about your age, and I were the only ones that were with her when she died. And my son was actually sitting on the bed next to her with his head on her shoulder when she died. And I was sitting in a chair next to her. And my son and I talked afterwards, and he goes, "You know what, Mom? I realized that letting go is such an important part of this planet, that the last thing we do before we leave is we let go of our body. We have to let go of everything. Life is a giant trust fall. That's really what it is. And you right now do not have the baggage that some of us on this webinar have, because we've been able to pick up baggage longer through our lives. And so you are at a pivotal place to be able to re-knit together the trust that gave you the connection with your higher power, but that trust was frayed when you had your personal struggle. And so maybe there's some pieces where you haven't forgiven yourself, or you haven't trusted that the atonement fully applies to you, and that it can knit back together trust. Because even when we take the steps that we're supposed to take in our lives, even when we take the steps, we don't always trust that that the difference can be made up for us. We don't always trust that. Take it from me. I work with a lot of people that think that they have to do more, but what they often need to do is trust more. Trust is a secular word for faith, and we need to be able to access more faith and let go of or no, I'm just going to say trust. You need more trust knitted back in your life. So your relationships with your siblings are not going away. What you need to trust is that they are evolving, because do you want to get married and have your own family someday?
Yeah.
Good plan. A lot of kids nowadays, they're not sure about that. They wait forever, and they sometimes wait till it's too late. And it's just a good plan. So I'm proud of you for that. But that means, when you leave to have your own family, are you going to have 8 extra bedrooms where your siblings come live?
No.
So you're going to have evolved relationships with them. You'll need that. But in order to do that, you have to trust that you can have a higher relationship. And part of trust is being willing to let go. That's why I think a trust fall is such a great analogy, because it involves that letting go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you need to do, Ezra, to be able to reconnect to more trust in your life? Trust with self, trust with higher power, trust with people around you. What do you need to do?
To have trust with my siblings. What do I need to do?
Mhm.
Have faith that our relationships can take a new step. Or is there different steps that I need to take?
So, do you like to draw?
I do.
Okay, I would suggest you draw a picture, and you just start drawing. Not right now. This is homework. Are you good with homework? I suggest you draw a picture of what it feels like right now to be disconnected a little from your higher power, and then draw another picture of what it feels like to be connected. And then once you've drawn those, ask the question to Heavenly Father. Say, what do I need to be able to re-access this connection, so that you can feel trust again? Because that's the first connection you need back. Because if you're reconnected with your higher power, would he be able to tell you how to best navigate your relationships with your siblings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would he be able to help you to navigate the learning experiences of your past failures and put them into success in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will he be able to help you navigate and make your success of your 2 years in Utah?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where you need to go. Everything you've told me is about trust, but the connection is waiting to happen, Ezra. You're ready for it. And you're a powerful person. We need more 18-year-olds like you, but we need more 21-year-olds like you. We need more 30-year-olds like you. And you're going to be an amazing 21 and 30-year-old. But your time right now is choosing this adjustment, and it's a trust adjustment God needs you to go in a different direction, is what I'm seeing. And it's in a trust direction. You're doing the right things. You're doing the right things, but he needs you to adjust your trust angle. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, Tell me what you think. This probably went a different direction than you expected.
It did indeed. I think that is exactly what I needed to hear.
Okay, so draw your pictures and then ask your dad how to message me and let me know you did it, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ezra, for being on with us today
Thank you.
and letting your dad stare at you while the rest of us got to see you on camera. All right. Everybody in the chat is already giving you very powerful messages, Ezra, so you get to go read them.
Okay.
Thanks for being here and good luck.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Bye-bye. Bye, Bill.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, I think we have time. Should we have time for one more person, you guys? Who thinks we should? Oh, let me lower the hands and just see. Yeah, should we? You guys have, I'm realizing a lot of people had to leave right at 9 o'clock. But so so you guys that are still here, let's have one more person. So the next person chosen is Julie Sickles. Julie Sickles, you are next. Right, Colette? She says, I learned so much from watching. Yeah, Shalise says, I'm so glad you shared, Ezra. I think we all need to trust in God more. You know, that's really interesting that you say that, Shalise, because it's true that we do need to trust more. But trust is a very individualized thing. It's very individual. And so while Julie's getting ready, I'm going to share this with you. So this is what I said to Ezra, that every triggering experience in the present is a chance to heal the past. And another thing I want to say is this, is that we have big things that push on us. So Lacey described big things happening in her life, and Ezra described big things happening in his. And some of you have sent me messages that things like, I need help with focusing on what I want versus the doubts and self-sabotage or habits or things that are pushing on me. We have, or you've sent me messages about things that are happening in your life. And I would describe those this way, that we end up having big emotions. We have big emotions that we have a dam that we pile these big emotions behind. And sometimes these emotions feel, they feel really big. And it's like, oh, I have so many. And then it's sometimes in our life, they feel really, really big. Can anybody relate to that? Have you ever felt really, really big emotions in your life? Right? I have felt this. I have had super big emotions in my life just the last couple of weeks, to the point that I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm just going to tell you this, that when really big emotions hit, they can start to affect the way we eat, okay? So just think about you for a minute. When big emotions happen, do you let it affect the way you eat? Maybe you eat bad foods. Maybe you eat no food. Maybe you can't eat because it's too painful. Or maybe all you do is eat because you want to numb it. And then it starts to affect the way you sleep. Okay, so for me, it was the food and then the sleep. And I would try and fall asleep and I would startle awake as soon as I fell asleep because the stress, the big emotions were so big. And so I didn't eat and then I couldn't sleep. So I went days without sleeping. Or maybe you sleep too much, because it can go either direction, right? You can eat nothing, eat too much. You can sleep none or sleep too much. And then it starts to affect the way you think. Your brain gets scrambled, your emotions get scrambled. And then it can cause, and our emotions either, and will go either way, right? We'll either numb our emotions or we'll find ourselves crying all the time. Can anybody relate to this? Right? That's really good. Diana says, sometimes I just fall asleep as soon as I sit down, even in a car park. Yep. So those big emotions can go either way. And when those big emotions happen, what we need to learn to do is we need to learn to put our hand out, which I wish I could get this guy to put his hand out, but he's drawn this way. But you need to put your hand out, kind of like the like Hiccup does on How to Train Your Dragon, where you just put your hand out and you touch the dam of big emotions. And you ask it this question. You ask that dam of emotions and you say, what are you trying to get me to do that is good and new? That's the important question. What are you trying to get me to do that is good and new? Because when we have these big emotions, what we'll usually do is we'll try to corral the negative effects, the eating or the sleeping or the thinking or the emotions, and we'll do it in a way that to me feels like you're taking a spring and you're pushing the spring down and you get it to where you can hold it. And so different kinds of diets we'll do, or we'll use lots of melatonin, or we'll get sleeping pills, or we'll numb ourselves out and we push that spring down, but it's not maintainable. At some point, we can't hold the spring anymore and the spring explodes. I need to make a slide of a spring exploding. Wait, I have one. I'll see if I can find it really quick. But the reality is those big emotions are trying to teach us something that will get us to do something that's new, big, or new and good. New and good. So here's my spring exploding. Oh, where did it go? Hang on. And that's what it feels like when our spring explodes, is it feels like this, because we can't maintain that spring compressed like that. And so we need to learn to be able to ask, what are these emotions trying to get me to do that is good and new? Okay, because that's what our triggering experiences are trying to do. Just like we just learned from Ezra, is to make a small adjustment so that we can have a long-term adjustment of our direction. Does that make sense, you guys? So powerful. All right, we got Julie here. Can we hear you, Julie?
Do you want me to back up a little?
You can back up and put your camera down just a little. There you go. Yeah, it's still really high. You can put it in at all.
Is that better?
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so tell me, Julie, from your questions, what stood out to you?
I was a little bit all over the place too. I can kind of relate to Ezra a little bit. I'm super excited about my life right now. There's a lot of really awesome stuff happening. And so I really just want to keep moving forward with a good trajectory and not get stuck. So I I'm a therapist and I have a private practice. And for years, I've had a goal to start a podcast, and the podcast launched last month, like 1 month ago. So like, I'm
Congratulations.
super excited, have this whole new adventure that I'm doing. It's a ton of work. But an interesting thing happened, and my money is kind of drying up in my business. So I am now planning to invest in a program to help me to like bring more clients in. But it's kind of interesting, right? Like I've been planning on this podcast because I want to reach and touch more people and just put more goodness out in the world. And so I just find that like dichotomy interesting, right? Like I'm moving forward, I'm going where I feel that I've been inspired and guided to go. And I want to keep moving and be able to bless my family's life, my friends' life, and then all the people that I can touch in the world, that I have messages that I can share with them.
So what is your answer to number 4? What's a repeating problem in your life?
I put not having enough clients and being kind of stuck like around 10. Like it's almost like I can't get over that barrier, which 10 is kind of where I've ideally wanted to be. But I like to get up to it and then it falls back down. I get up to it and it falls back down.
And how long has that happened?
That I've been trying to do that. I mean, I've really been stuck at that for like 20 years. But I've been in my own business since 2017. So for 6 years.
So why do you say you've been stuck at that for 20 years?
So when I first started as a therapist and I was working full time, I was doing home-based therapy and I was required to do 10 hours a week of face-to-face in-home therapy. And so that's kind of where I was at. And then from there, I moved to a job where I was just part-time. I worked on my own. And that's what I set for myself because I'm a mom of 4 kids. So I wanted to be able to kind of have that balance between my job and my home life. So I've always kind of set it at that 10 hours. And it just feels like now I want to be a little bit more, maybe like 12 to 15, but I'm not even at 10, if that makes sense.
Okay. So what is this that you are segmenting out? Because this is what you do while you talk. So
Okay.
Yeah, and ask your hands for me. What is that?
Okay. So give me a minute to ask. I think it has to do with I feel torn between a lot of different pieces of my life, right? Like I feel like there's all of this competing stuff, right? Like I'm a wife and a mother and a friend and a daughter and a business owner and a therapist, and those two things kind of compete with each other, right? And like I'm in a calling at church where it takes a lot of time and energy, right? Like I have all these things pulling, and it's like, how do I do all of them? Like how, like it feels like one takes from another. That's what I'm getting.
Okay. Have you ever taken the Clifton Strengths Finders test?
No.
Okay. So you don't. All right. So that's okay. I don't know. Hang on. My computer.
I guess I need to write that down.
Well, it's Clifton Strengths Finders test is a test that I have my personal mentoring clients take. And I'm really careful with tests like that because I never want people to feel like the test gets to decide who they are.
Yeah.
But that particular test, I have them take that because then I go over with them and I show them what makes their world make sense. Because so like if you were my personal mentoring client, I would send you a link, you would take that test, and then you and I would talk, and I would say, look, here's some places that aren't natural for you. And sorry, there's a fly. Here's some places that aren't natural for you. And here's some places that if all else is equal, you're going to make sure these things happen. And so like some people, they need their world to be adaptable. They need things to be able to be different every day. Some people, they need to be an achiever. They need to be able to see that they're doing the things every single day. So sometimes this body language is achiever body language.
Mm.
But then when I asked you the question, you described it as you're being torn in lots of different directions. And so it can also be segmenting body language. That fly really wants to fly in my glasses. And so this can also be that you're trying to compartmentalize things. You're trying to keep them all separate. And to keep them all separate takes a lot of effort. So that's why I was just asking if you knew what your strengths were, because listening to you, it sounds like you've got some developer strength. Well, let me just say this. Oh, see, your cat's here to catch my fly. Here's the fly. You can. Oh, I almost caught it. And so the problem is, like I was telling Ezra, spiritual gifts or strengths don't come just by themselves. They also come with the corresponding weakness. And so we can overuse a strength. I call it turning a strength up too loud. And as soon as we turn it up too loud, it becomes a weakness instead of being a strength. And so we need to learn to balance and use things, like overtraining at the gym, Rebecca, that's a good example. We need to learn to balance our strengths into balance. We need more words in English. Someday I want more words in my vocabulary. I'm going to ask God for that when I go back to heaven. I'm like, I need a language with more words, because we need to be able to not be using our strength too much or too little. And so for some of us, what will happen is we are very big at developing other people. But because we're developing other people, we become too invested in each individual person's results in a way that we take it on as our responsibility and we'll place it on our own shoulders. And as soon as we do that, we will never have room for more people in our life. And mentoring clients are people in your life. And you won't have room for more of them if you are carrying all of them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so it sounds, so the way your body language is going here, it sounds to me like you are trying to carry all the parts of your life. It's like you're taking them all and you're putting them up on your shoulders and you're like, all right, here we go. How many can I carry? Well, I can only carry 10. If I get more clients than that, it's going to flatten me to the ground because I can't carry more people than that. And so just for fun, take your fingers for me, the edges of your fingers, like make them like combs, and take them on the back of your neck and comb down your shoulder like this. And tell me, how does that feel when you do that?
Soothing.
Does it feel tingly at all if you do that a few times?
No.
Does it feel like it gets lighter?
I have a lot of stiffness in my neck, so I'm noticing my stiffness.
Okay. So what that's saying to me is that you've piled so much on your shoulders, because a lot of people, if I have them comb the back of their neck and their shoulders, it only takes a few times and they'll start to feel a little bit of tingle, because it's taking the energy of the responsibility off of their shoulders. But if we put it there for so long, like you say, got stiffness there, it's like, no, I can't do it any other way. There are no options. It has to be this way. Well, then we're not allowing ourselves to put our responsibilities in a wagon and pull the wagon behind us, right? We're not allowing ourselves to think outside of our current thinking. And what you just described to me is you need answers that are different than your current answers. You need a way of doing something that's different than your current way of doing things. But right now, your brain is saying, no, we don't do it differently. It's only done this way because for 20 years we've done it this way, and it's how we've survived. And so one of the things we need to learn to do is we need to be able to answer certain kinds of questions. And these questions are, if I share my screen, can you see it? Julie, can
Yeah.
you see it? All right. So these questions, we need to answer curiosity questions. These are kinds of questions that we can ask ourselves. Curiosity questions, negative questions, growth questions, and overthinking questions. So curiosity and growth are both ways of looking outside of our current situation. But we often don't separate out the categories. And so we'll ask ourselves questions. We think we're asking questions, but we're actually just stuck in the negative and the overthinking questions. And so we'll ask questions like, why can't I do this? How come I can't get more clients? Why am I always just staying at 10 clients? Or we ask these kinds of questions instead of asking a curiosity question, like, what would it be like if I had 20 clients? What would that be like? And then answering that question. Because like an overthinking question is, well, I just can't, I'm not getting this done. So what more can I do? Or I got this answer. So an overthinking one would be, I got this answer of what I should do, but what if it's just not quite right? Or what if there's a better way? Or things like FOMO, and so fear of missing out or fear of a better option. Let's see if I have those slides here. No, I don't have those here. I have a bunch of slides that show different fears that we have that we'll get stuck in. But if you would spend more time in curiosity questions and growth questions, that would help you. So let's do it this way. Let me make them different colors. So a curiosity question would be green to me. What color would a negative question be to you?
Probably red.
Red. Okay, how about growth? What color would a growth question be?
Like a blue.
Okay, and what color would an overthinking question be?
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay, so this says to me that, well, I'll tell you that in a minute, but if you'll spend more time in curiosity and growth, so asking questions like, what would it be like if I just sat here and dreamed for a minute? What would it be like to have 20 clients in my business? What would that feel like? What would I say? And we need imagery, dialogue, and emotions in our answers. Imagery, dialogue, and emotions help when we're answering curiosity and growth questions. And so answer those, allow yourself to actually sit in those kinds of answers, because I'm willing to bet you spend a lot more time in the segmenting kind of questions, like what needs to happen next? Why have I not succeeded at what I want to do? How come I just keep staying stuck? Questions that have negative answers to them do not help us to grow. We actually need to ask questions that give positive feelings to the direction we want to go. Okay, tell me what you're hearing, Julie.
So I'm hearing that it's important to spend time using imagery and words and pictures, language, really working on those curiosity and growth questions, really like seeing where I want to get to, what it would be like, what it would feel like, what the experience would be, instead of stuck in the negative questions or the overthinking questions.
Yeah, because so here is a slide from Breakthrough Coaching on Monday that we drew, because this slide, so I called it my shower door this morning, because Monday morning after conference weekend, I had this picture come into my head on how everything fit together that I'd learned over the weekend. And the picture that I drew on my shower door looked like this. And so we sat and we talked about this for 2 hours, because if I can't focus on if I don't know what it feels like to be where I want to be, then my face will stay stuck in my problem. I will keep my face right there in the middle of my problem. And problem energy is not solution energy. Okay? Somebody type that in the chat for Julie, since she doesn't have a pen right now. Problem energy is not solution energy. Okay? And so I need to be able to access the energy of solution and bring that energy back to my problem, because the size of my problem comes from the energy that I give the problem. So I want to apply solution energy to my problem, and my problem will feel smaller as I'm moving through it. It'll feel smaller. But the way I access solution energy is by being able to ask those questions. What would it feel like to be where I want to go? And it needs to be, and I know there's tons of words on here. I mean, everybody is probably just taking a screenshot and you'll go read all the words on here later. But this was a 2-hour conversation. That's why there's so many words. But people need imagery, dialogue, and emotions. What would it feel like to be where I want to be? What kinds of things would I say if I was where I wanted to be? What would I be feeling if I was where I wanted to be? And once you've got that in your head, then open your eyes and say, what's my next step for this problem? Because now you're getting answers from solution energy instead of problem energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Because tell me, how often, Julie, do you take time to step into solution feelings before solving a problem?
So I do try and use a lot of imagery and visuals and my vision board. So I try to do that daily, but doing it specifically, like right when I'm working on a specific problem, 50% of the time, maybe, I try to see, I believe strongly in the law of attraction. So seeing and attracting what I want is really important to me. So I do try to have that be a big piece of what I do.
Okay. And so are you doing it for doing sake, or are you doing it to play with it? Because as you're describing that to me, you're using very work body language.
Okay.
instead of playful body language. And
Okay.
so we adults, we can turn play into work so fast. We can take the joy out of play. We can suck the joy out of anything. And so if you're just doing it to try to do the steps, then you're not accessing the true attracting energy. Play is attractive. Work is not. We're wired to avoid work. We're wired to embrace play. And so you need to put joy back in to your imagery, Julie,
Okay.
so that you can feel lighter. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, definitely. And I did an intensive with you, and we worked on our set emotions and practicing them, and joy and peace were my set emotions. So I think you totally nailed it on the head. Yeah, I do. I do need more joy.
Yep. And play is going to access more of that. So when you're imagining where you want to be, allow it to be playful,
Okay.
because playful energy is so much better for solving problems. It's so much better.
Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Everything's better. You're speaking my language, Anne, for sure. I already know this, but I need to do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And but do it from a place that it's recess, not that it's algebra.
Okay.
When you go take your steps, say, hey, I'm going to recess.
Yeah.
Not I'm going to algebra class.
Okay.
Cool. Will you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Did anybody else learn from Julie? Put it in the chat so that, I mean, there's already lots of great comments in there, right? There's a few people that needed to learn about play today, Julie. So April's going to recess, she says. I love it so much. I love it. Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
Thanks.
And then message me and let me know. Let me know you're doing it, okay?
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys. I totally was so excited about helping everybody that I forgot that I had one extra thing for you guys. Oh my goodness. Yeah, wasn't that powerful? Yeah, right? Isn't that cool? There's other people that want to do podcasts, and my work has become my play. Lee, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, good job. So I forgot to tell you something though. I have a very special thing that I prepared for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna go just a few minutes over, so stick with me here. Stick with me. And that is this. Let me find the slide. And then I'll come back and answer a question that I saw in the chat about the questions. And that is that I have a special offer for people who are interested in doing breakthrough coaching. If you schedule your phone call before the end of this webinar, you're going to get a special offer that's never happened before. So I just need to put the link up on the screen where you can book a call. I need to put this, so either, can you put this in the chat for me too, Adam? So people can click on it. You're going to want to click on this, because in a minute I'm going to tell you what the really special offer is. But it's only available for people who have scheduled a phone call during this webinar. And I know that there's a bunch of people that had to leave before the end of the webinar. And so if you watch this recording and you were on the webinar, and because I forgot to give this at the beginning, message me and tell me that you were on the webinar, and I will include you in those who were able to book a call before the end of the webinar. You can scan this QR code, you can type this into your URL, you can click on the message in the chat. All of them are going to take you to my calendar. And what I did is I opened up extra slots on my personal calendar. Tomorrow, Saturday, I opened up 6 extra slots so that I could hold some short phone calls with people who would want to be able to ask me questions one-on-one, and who would be interested in having customized mentoring tools for them, and would be interested in talking about my mentoring that I do. So I opened up these extra slots. There's 6 tomorrow, and there's some next week that I opened up. And so I now am going to, okay, yep, I did. I made sure that they're there. So now let me answer this question really quick, and then I'll tell you what that special offer is. So somebody asked me the question, what's the difference between a growth and a curiosity question? And yes, Rebecca, so those are, they're called epiphany calls. So these calls are for people that are interested in what it would look like to work with me and to be able to know about either my group coaching or my personal coaching. And then to be able to ask and to be able to see what it looks like to be able to have customized mentoring principles for your customized fears that you have in your life. So they asked the question, what's the difference between a curiosity and a growth question? So a curiosity question and a growth question, they're both moving in a forward direction. Negative and overthinking questions are both moving in a backwards direction. So a curiosity question is going to be something like, what would it be like if, if I'm just curious, let's just pretend that things worked out. What would life be like? A growth question would be a question, something like, what is there that I don't know that would help me? That's a growth question, because it's like, well, if I don't know it, how would I ask the question? Yes, Rebecca, you are. Absolutely. So a growth question would be, they're questions that we don't think of answering ourselves off the top of our head. So curiosity and growth questions can be similar, but I use both words because they trigger different kinds of thinking. So what is there outside of my box that I don't know? Who knows something that I don't? Another growth question would be, if I were a person who took action, what would I do right now? Okay. So curiosity is, let's pretend. Let's maybe just think of what it would be like. Growth is, if I already was like that, what would I do? Does that make sense? So they're both forward facing instead of backward facing. So the problem is we all have customized fears. We all have problems that are. Adam, did you just raise your hand? I've never seen that before. Just said Adam West raised his hand, so now I'm confused. Okay. So the problem is that we all have these customized problems going on in our lives. And those problems are trying to teach me how to let go of the past, right, Ezra? How to let go and step into my future, because I can't, we humans keep trying to live our lives backwards. We keep trying to live our lives in reverse instead of forwards. But the only place we have power is forward movement. It's the only place. Listen to my words, you guys. The only place we have that we can make progress is in the forward movement, not the backwards. So we want to let go, which some people call heal. We want to let go of the past and step into the future. And so in order to do that, we have to put a customized mentoring principle around a customized problem. Adam, can you help? Aaron says the link in the chat does not go to the calendar. Thank you, Diana, for writing that down. The only place we have power is in forward movement, okay? So what do we need to do? We need to step into being a growth-minded person. Everyday people, okay? Everyday people who want to be the best version of themselves and inspire others through their example to be their best. That's who we need to be, you guys. We don't need to be some other person than who we are. We need to be an everyday people who wants to be the best version of ourselves. That's who I choose to empower. So 13 years ago, when I was becoming a body language expert, I chose that I wanted to work with people to help them access more of their amazingness. That's what I chose. And so when the world changed in 2020, in COVID, when the world just went sideways, I created a class called Breakthrough Coaching, where you can live the best version of you. And breakthrough coaching is to be able to build belief, to break through our programming, to focus ourselves forward. Adam, can you help Rebecca in the chat for me? Or is that the link I gave you, Rebecca? And my watch is talking. So normally a class like this, high-level programs at 3 key elements, are around $6,000. The breakthrough coaching, the regular price for the breakthrough coaching with a personal mentoring appointment with me is $3,400. But today, because you were here today, breakthrough coaching includes these things. It includes 14 weeks of live training. Yeah, Adam, can you help people? It's taking people to the vision board training. So this is the special. Okay, this is the part that I'm all excited about. If you book your phone call with me before the end of this webinar, instead of 14 weeks of training and the 6 pre-recorded modules and accountability and your emotion set mindset training, instead of just this, you're also going to get these bonuses. You qualify for these bonuses by booking your phone call before the end of this webinar. And the bonuses are, you're going to get the complete audio library. You're going to get a bonus section in your member library. And in this bonus section, see, this is what your member library would look like. And you would go in here and there's this button called bonus content. I've added a whole bunch of trainings that I've done. One of them is called your emotional coping style. I will walk you through getting out of your emotional coping style that has been trained into you from birth. You were raised in this emotional coping style. Your parents didn't know any better. I raised my kids in an emotional coping style, but I will walk you through getting out of that emotional coping style. I will walk you through how to get past big emotions. There are over 10 trainings in this bonus section right here. And so then right here, the next one is, get this, you are going to get a one-on-one personal appointment with me over Zoom. It's just going to be you and me, a bonus appointment, just the two of us. Just by show of hands, would anybody want to meet with just me for an hour? Would that be fun? Would you ask me any questions? Can you imagine what you would ask me? Or maybe you'd bring your son with you, like Ezra. They need to be over 18 years old, right? But some people show their appointments to their little kids, their recordings, because you're going to get a recording of that appointment. But this is what I've never done before. And you can thank Kirk's son, Cody, who works in our company. This was his idea, because we were brainstorming of what you guys need. We were thinking about you. And so another bonus you're going to get is the early call bookers. So you've booked your call, because I'm going to take a screenshot of my calendar as soon as this webinar is over, and everybody who's books their car qualifies that if you register for Breakthrough Coaching, you're going to get 6 extra weeks of Breakthrough Coaching. to make it a total of 20 weeks of live training. And why is that? That's because I looked at the calendar, and I want you to be able to have support over the holidays, through the new year, and launching yourself into the next year. So 20 weeks will take you clear through till the end of February of 2024. I want to help you not just today, you guys, but clear through February of next year. Would you want to do that? And so that's a bonus. This is over 2,400 in bonuses that I'm giving you today because you joined me for the body language hot seat. So just tell me in the chat, do you think we should have another body language hot seat sometime? Was this valuable to do this? Yeah, so just in the chat say yes, another body language hot seat would be awesome. Okay, that just helps me. Or tell me privately, no, I never want to see another one of these again. That would be fine too. For sure, another body language hot seat. Because I think we should do it again. I think it would be fun. But imagine actually getting to interact with me every single week for the next 20 weeks. Because what we do is we meet every week live on Mondays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time, okay? And you guys that have been in breakthrough coaching before, book a phone call with me and I'll give you a special offer to come back to breakthrough coaching. So 2,400 in bonuses. So it's normally, our high-level programs are 6,000. Breakthrough coaching is usually 3,400. Today's price is $19.97. And like Rebecca asked, there will be one payment program option that you can do. And if you've booked the call before the end of the webinar, you're going to get these 2,400 in bonuses, right? Aw, thanks, Jeremy. This is all just because I sat down and I asked myself curiosity and growth questions. And I said, if people were going to grow over the next 20 weeks, what would support their growth the best? I asked those kinds of questions. And why am I doing this? Because the world is disempowering you, and I want to empower you. I want to do that. So how do you register? You go to this. You can go to this QR code if it's working. You can type this in. If you need help, if you've been trying to get it to work, go to support@3keyelements.com and we will help you out. And we'll see the timestamp of that email, so we'll be able to know it was before the webinar ended, okay? And so Lisa, just book a call and I'll walk you through it, okay? The links are now working. Fantastic. So what'll happen is, if you're still thinking about it, go book the phone call and see what questions I ask, okay? Because those questions that I ask are mentoring questions. And so go answer those questions. So you'll click on the link, you'll pick a time on my calendar sometime in the next week, and then you will answer a few questions. And those questions are mentoring questions. Great question, Brittany. It happens on Mondays. The live classes are Mondays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And if you can't watch the whole thing live, you get a recording by the end of the day that you can watch that same day or anytime for 3 weeks afterwards. And every Monday, I give you opportunity assignments based on what's going on in our world right now. So it's up-to-date mentoring principles that are going to help you break through your mindset, your emotion set, and move forward. This is for everyday people that believe they can do more, that they can influence more people. Rebecca, the live classes of breakthrough coaching are on Mondays. Yep, great question. So there's also pre-recorded modules that you can do at your own pace. And then the live trainings are Mondays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And I do it around that time. Yep. In fact, when you book a phone call, I will give you a link that explains all these pieces about breakthrough coaching. In fact, I'll even type it in the chat for you. If you want to be able to see all the pieces about breakthrough coaching, you can go to 3ke.to/breakthrough, and that will tell you all these pieces. It won't, however, tell you these bonuses. So I would take a screenshot of this, Rebecca, because these bonuses will not be listed in that link. Cool? Any other questions about that, you guys? These have been great questions. Oh, I love that. Breakthrough coaching is priceless and is amazing. Can I just show you what Lee did in breakthrough coaching? Lee did this. She wanted to get out from under this bedroom that was weighing her down. But what was going on was mindset and emotion set shifts. And so now this is what her bedroom looks like. And this is what her life is like, because she got out from under the weight of the mindset and emotion set challenges that were happening. And this is what other people, I mean, if you want these kinds of successes, come be in my life for 20 weeks, you guys. I dare you. Come be in my life for 20 weeks. So this is what somebody recently messaged me, said the other day, my oldest boy asked me or if me and my husband ever made each other feel bad before, because he doesn't remember us ever not getting along, because they came to breakthrough coaching with the intention of being able to get along. This person said, my whole family dynamics have changed. I actually love being with my children and playing with them. I haven't been able to play in so long, right, Julie? We need to play. Now we're playing every evening. It's miraculous. So many great things here. This last 3 months have done so much for me. One of my favorites is not carrying the deep sadness. This one I really like. This one said, oh, that one's good too. But the one I was looking for is this one right here. I'm a mom of 4, including 9-year-old triplets. And I've been in breakthrough coaching for over a year, and it's helped me more than any book, program, or therapist ever. I love that. I love it. So, yeah, Rebecca, I've been feeling that too. Oh, all available slots are booked. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see if I can open up some more slots. Hang on. Let me look really quick. You know what? Yeah, I have technology. Hang on just a second. We've got technology. No times in October. Okay, I'll fix it. Hang on. Nope, wrong button. This button. All right. Tiffany call type. Edit. Oh, maybe this is going to take me. Oh, I know what I can do to do it faster. Hang on. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. If you haven't been able to book a call because all of them are full, tell me in the chat. In fact, do a private chat to Adam or to the, what is it called? The panelists, to the host and panelists, and give me your phone number and I will text you and set up a time with you personally. How's that? Is that fair? Will that work? So just send a message with your phone number to the host and panelists, and I will personally reach out to you and get you a phone call scheduled. Will that work? All right, cool. Claudia, can you give me your phone number and I can help you? Okay. All right, cool. You guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for us to be able to look at our world differently. I'm so excited for us to be empowered instead of disempowered. Because what I'm seeing right now is the world is trying to disempower you, and it's trying to disempower your belief in the future. And I want to be empowered because the world is getting more noisy, not less noisy. Is that true? Way more noisy. And so let's have the skills that we need. Let's link arms for the next 20 weeks. And let's be the rock in the pond that ripples out and gives more power to people around us. Because we don't need to be disempowered. We need empowerment. Okay, Lisa, give us your phone number and I will, and I'll help you out, okay? All right, fantastic. You guys are the best. Did you learn something today? Did you learn something? Okay, so now tell me in the chat, what action step are you gonna take based on what you learned today? Tell me an action step you're gonna take. And maybe your action step is you're gonna talk to me on the phone because I'm super excited that I get to talk to you guys. All right. Oh, good job, Lacey. Lacey's gonna take some time for her. Woohoo! Put trust in my creator. Excellent, Bill. All right, cool. Excellent. Oh, you guys, I love humans. I really do. I love humans, and I love the fact that we're just perfectly messy and we can grow from that messy. So I love it. I love it so much. Ask forward-facing questions. Start having faith. Trust myself more. Book a phone call. Excellent, you guys. Yeah, I love that. Shauna says, thank you to the chatters. Weren't there great comments today? Okay, Rebecca, send me your phone number. Okay, so several people have said that they took time filling out the questions and then their time slot was taken. So just give me your phone number and I'm gonna text you right after this and give you a couple of options. Adam, are you making a list of those for me so that I can text them all right after this? Yeah, pay close attention to our questions. I love that. Ruthie Renee, it's so glad. I'm so tickled to see you today. Love it, love it, love it. All right, you guys. So today it's time to take a step forward. Ask yourself a different question. Choose a different, I'm going to say it this way, choose different than default. The world wants you to be disempowered and it wants you to choose default. I want you to be empowered and choose creation. So today, that's what we took a step towards. We took a step towards choosing creation. And when we make that choice, you are worthy and deserving of the steps you choose to take forward. You're worthy and deserving of those, because that's a big message I had to get in my own life, is that I'm worthy and deserving of any help I'm willing to ask for. I'm worthy and deserving of steps that I choose to take. So let's do it, you guys. Let's go make this world a better place. Are you in? Woohoo! All right, I can't wait to see all of you somewhere soon. You're awesome. I love you. Have a fantastic weekend. And I can't wait to talk to you. Bye-bye.